Alright, I finally got the main ingredient to my adding more lights project on my T5. And that would be the actual lights. I've been waiting on these for about a week. I've got everything else done. The wiring and the mounting brackets. And finally, now I have the lights. So I'm excited to get these put on the tractor and try them out. So I'm going to get started. I got some mounting brackets, and these are going to work perfect on the rear because they're the same thing that's on the rear already. This bolt, let me get this thing out of the package. Hold this 1 second. This bolt is welded to this bracket, so if you order these, that's something to consider. Also, I need to use a lock nut on this if I have a metric lock nut. I'm sure this is metric. I know I got standard lock nuts, but I'm not sure about metric ones. But anyway, this just fits on here like that, and there are a couple of washers that go in between, and I did order those. They're in this box somewhere. Here they are. They're like concave washers, and one on each side of the light bracket, in between the light and the bracket. And I ordered these washers. These are supposed to be a friction washer, but they look just like regular washers to me. And it's supposed to go on this bolt here, in between the mounting bracket on the tractor and this bracket. So I'm gonna get started, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so I got one of them ready to go on the tractor. I got my washers in between the brackets on each side. I didn't order any bolts because we have a bolt bin, and I do have metric bolts, but I don't have any metric lock nuts. So in order to have a lock nut on this part here, I used a 5/16 bolt, fit just perfect in this. And so this one's ready to go on the tractor. We'll go put it on. So I got one of them mounted on the tractor. Got it plugged in. Everything fit just perfect, plugged in perfect. I'm going to use this light to angle it over here to the left. This is left rear corner of the tractor, and I'm going to use this one to shine directly behind the tractor, and then this one will shine over here. So that's my theory behind the extra lights on the rear, so I have more surrounding lights to the corners and to the sides of the tractors, and I'll tune these once I turn them on. So alright, let's do the next side. Both rears on now. It's looking pretty good. Now it's time to move on to the front and see how that goes. Going to be a little more difficult on the front. I got to modify the brackets, so I'm going to take these over here and see what I can do about getting a 7/16 bolt in it, because that's the size bolt I need in it. These aren't going to do me any good, so I'm going to try to knock those out, re-drill the hole in this bracket, and get a 7/16 bolt in it. So we'll see how that goes. I only got the bolt out of this bracket right here. It was not nearly as easy as I thought it was going to be. It was spot welded in there, but it was welded very, very well. I even tried, well, first I tried a hammer. I took a hammer, I set it on the bench, and I hit it one time, and it just bent the bracket. So the second thing I tried to do was put it in this 50-ton press, and I put a socket. I put it like this on top of a socket, so it would just put the pressure. The socket would just be around the head of the bolt. Well, actually the head was on this side, and I tried pressing it out, and all it did was mangle the bracket up some more. So the only way I found I could get it out was to take a grinder and just grind the head completely off, and then the bolt just fell out. The threaded part just fell out. So I was a little rough on this thing, but the next thing I got to do to it is drill a 7/16 hole in it, and so I can put my 7/16 bolt. I may drill it one size bigger than 7/16, so I can get my 7/16 bolt through it, and then I'll have to smooth it up a little bit and repaint it, since I've mangled it up a little, mangled the paint up, and should be ready to put on the light and stick it on the tractor. Alright, I got my 7/16 hole drilled in it, and I'm getting ready to throw a little paint on it. And if you didn't know, these tractors, the engine and all the cab parts are this color right here. It looks black, but it's actually dark gray. So that's what I'm going to paint this, because it matches the rest of the tractor. Alright, so my battery went dead while I was working on this light project, and I had to skip a few steps in the video because that I wanted to show, but I didn't have any choice. I was using my phone and it went dead, and I didn't have any way to charge it, and I wanted to get these lights on here. So they are mounted. They've been on here a couple days, and I've used them. You've probably seen them already if you watch some of my other videos. They're on the tractor while I was loading a load of hay, and see, the other video they're on is preparing the T5 to load hay. But they look pretty good on there, and I guess I got my 7/16 bolt in there holding it on to the tube, and the only thing I had to do to the 7/16 bolt was, there's a lock washer in there, and the head of the bolt, you can see, is really thin, because I had to saw it off with a portaband so it would be enough clearance in there for the light. See, the head of the bolt was so thick that it actually was hitting the housing of the light, and I couldn't get the cross bolt in it. So other than that, it bolted right on, and everything worked perfectly. You can adjust them side to side, you can adjust them up and down, and the wires were long enough. I left enough slack to plug them right in, and I put a zip tie up there, and I put a little zip tie right there just to keep the wire from keep you from snagging it when you're getting in and out of the tractor, or tree limbs snagging it. So I mean, it worked out really well. So I'll give you a little bit of a view of the front of the tractor now with all the lights on it. It looks really good, looks factory, which is what I was shooting for. And now I have these lights aimed out to the sides pretty aggressively, because that's where the darkest areas were. The upper lights do a great job lighting up in front of you, and I just wanted more light out to the sides so I could see better around the tires, and if I'm going to be mowing. And I ted hay a lot in the dark. It's hard to see where you're at when you're tedding in the dark, and more lights help with that. But like this light here will be shining where I can see what I'm mowing in the dark, which I mow a lot in the dark, mow hay a lot in the dark. And this light will light this area over here, right where you need to be able to see any obstacles in your path mowing. And then of course on the back, same deal. I got the new lights I put on the outer side of the cab, angled out, about as much as they'll go. It might go a little bit more, and I might adjust them out some more. But you know, your offset mower's way over here to the right, and you at least have one light pointing at it, and then you can have more lights pointing straight behind you for something like this thing right here. This is a Teagle Tomahawk bell processor that we just got to use as another straw blower. And anyway, that's another story for another video. But yeah, I'm really pleased with the lights so far. No more than I've used them, just loading hay and piddling around. It really helps for side vision in the dark. So I may do one more video on these lights about how much difference it made. I may go out in the dark with it. I'm not going to do it today, but I may go out in the dark with it and try to show you before and after by covering them. I can't turn them off individually. I can turn the rears off independently from the front, but I can't turn off like the bottom lights compared to the top lights. Just not switched that way. If the front lights are on, all four of them are on. If the rear lights are on, all four of them are on. So the only way I can show a before and after is to actually cover, or actually probably just unplug the lights that I put on and then plug them back in. And I may do that later on, so y'all can see the difference. But that's all I got for now, guys. Thanks for watching.